Have you ever really thought about the journey your food takes to get to your plate? I mean, it's this incredibly complex, mostly invisible process, and right now it's going through a huge transformation. So we're going to dive deep into agricultural marketing and really uncover that hidden journey.
I love this quote. It perfectly captures what we're talking about. Marketing bridges the gap between farm and fork. That's it, right there. It's the essential connection between the farmer and, well, us. But here's the thing. That gap, it's been getting wider and wider over the years.
Okay, picture this. About a century ago, things were pretty simple, right? Farmers mostly grew food for their own families, maybe traded a little in their own village. The farm and the fork were practically neighbors. Now, fast forward to today, wow, it's a completely different world. We're talking massive commercial farms, huge surpluses of food, and consumers like us living in cities or even overseas, thousands of miles away. And that's what created this enormous gap that marketing has to fill.
So what are we really talking about when we say agricultural marketing? It's not just about putting up a for sale sign. This definition here really gets to the heart of it. It's a whole process. It actually starts before a single seed is even planted, with the decision of what to grow for the market. And then it covers the whole shebang: harvesting, sorting, packing, shipping, everything it takes to get that product from the farm to the consumer.
All right, so let's talk about the first big decision a farmer has to make. Once the crop is ready, they're at a crossroads. They have to choose a path to the market. And believe me, the two main routes are worlds apart. Let's break this down. On one hand, you've got direct marketing. Think farmers markets. You get a better price for each tomato, you get to know your customers, but you're not selling a ton of them. Then, on the other hand, you have wholesale marketing. The price you get per tomato is way lower, but you can sell a whole truckload at once. No customer chit-chat, just pure volume. It's that classic business dilemma, right? Higher profit margin versus massive scale.
And these images just say it all, don't they? Look at that. On one side, you have that vibrant personal connection at a farmer's market. That's direct marketing in a nutshell. And on the other side? Whoa. That's the massive industrial scale of the wholesale world. They're like two different universes, but both are absolutely vital to how we get our food.
Okay. So for a lot of farmers, especially the ones going the wholesale route, this journey isn't a simple A to B line. No, it's more like a complicated winding maze. So let's try to find our way through it.
So who's inside this maze? Well, it's filled with a whole bunch of people we call intermediaries, or, middlemen. You've got your village traders, commission agents, wholesalers, the processors who turn the crops into the food products we recognize, and of course, the retailers, where we do our shopping. Every single one of them has a job to do, and every single one takes a piece of the pie.
Now, here's where it gets, frankly, pretty shocking. The biggest problem with this maze is how incredibly inefficient it is. Look at this number. That's the value of food lost after harvest in India every year. We're talking about more than $18 billion worth of food. That's food that's grown but gets lost or spoiled somewhere along this complicated journey. It's just staggering. So you have to ask, why? Why is so much food being lost? Well, it's kind of a perfect storm of problems baked right into the system. The supply chains are all chopped up. You've got poor transportation, not enough proper storage. Think about it. Every time the food changes hands, there's another chance for it to get bruised or damaged. On top of all that, there's often no consistent standard for quality. It's a recipe for waste.
So, with all these middlemen and all this waste, what does that actually mean for the farmer's wallet? This chart, this tells the whole story. For every dollar you spend on rice, the farmer sees about 53 cents. It gets worse. For vegetables, it's down to 39 cents. And for fruit, just 34 cents. The rest? Yep, it gets eaten up by that maze of costs and middlemen.
Okay, but it's not all doom and gloom. The story is changing. People are getting creative, finding smart ways to completely bypass that old, inefficient maze. They're forging new, more direct links. Let's take a look.
So here's one really powerful idea. Contract farming. A great example is what PepsiCo does in India. They go directly to small farmers and make a deal. You grow this specific kind of rice for us. In return, the farmers get expert advice, and here's the kicker, a guaranteed buyer. That's huge. It takes away all the guesswork and a ton of financial risk for the farmer.
And this really points to a much bigger change in thinking. Modern ag marketing isn't just about selling whatever you happen to grow anymore. No way. It's a full-blown business strategy from start to finish. You plan what you're going to grow based on what the market actually wants. And it doesn't stop until you get feedback from the customer so you can do it even better next time. It's a complete loop.
So what's the engine driving all this change? You guessed it, technology. And if you want to know how big of a deal this is, just look at this number. That's the projected market size for digital agriculture in India by 2025. That's $24 billion. It shows you just how much money and faith is being poured into using tech to fix these age-old problems.
And this digital bridge is made of some really cool stuff. We're talking about farmers getting real-time market prices delivered right to their phones. There are online marketplaces that connect them straight to buyers, cutting out the middlemen. Artificial intelligence is giving them advice on what to plant. Heck, we're even seeing blockchain being used so you can trace your food's entire journey from the soil to the store. It's a game changer.
Okay, so we've seen the old maze and we've seen the new digital bridges being built to get around it. But why does any of this really matter? Why should we as consumers care about this journey? Well, the impact is probably way bigger than you think.
The numbers really speak for themselves here. When marketing gets better and more efficient, farmer incomes can jump by as much as 25%. We can slash those heartbreaking post-harvest losses by 15%. And the whole agricultural economy gets a boost. We've seen exports climb 20% recently. These aren't just abstract ideas. These are real, measurable wins.
And this comes right back to you and me. This isn't just some far-off economic policy. A better marketing system means the prices at the supermarket are more stable. It means the food you buy is higher quality because it wasn't sitting around or getting knocked about. And maybe best of all, you get a much clearer picture of where your food is actually coming from. You get that connection back.
So we've come full circle, right back to that gap between the farm and the fork. It's pretty clear that technology is closing that gap faster than ever, making the whole journey of our food shorter, smarter, and way more transparent. So I'll just leave you with this question to chew on. As all these old walls come tumbling down, what kind of new and amazing connections are we going to build between us and the people who grow our food?